record. Thank you, ladies, for popping on today. I'm super excited to bring this amazing leader to speak to you today. So Julianne Condia is obviously our guest speaker here. She is a 2-time elite coach. She's a 5-star diamond coach, currently 6-star diamond qual. Whoop, whoop. Currently ranked number 73 in the network. Needless to say, she is a kick booty leader with a kick booty, really action plan, I guess you would say, or more or less vision of where she's going, and she doesn't settle for no or for anything less than what she's striving for. So that's what I love about Julianne. But I'm just going to go ahead and allow her to jump into her topic. I know she said 12 ways to get unstuck, but anything else that you want to add on to that? But let's just go with this.
No, that's so good. Thank you. I am so excited to be here and just help you. I was going to talk to you about ways to find joy in the business when you're not being filled with joy. And a couple tips that I have for you on that is being present on Zooms really helped me do that. I was finding myself really distracted last year until mid-year, and I decided what got me here to this point, and it was taking notes on Zooms and logging out of Facebook and just being present. And then another thing that helped me find the joy back into building another elite business was reading personal development instead of listening to it because I was getting distracted. So those are just a couple quick little tips that I have for you, that if you're feeling like you're lacking some joy, I always ask, like, what was it when I first started that I was so into that got me to that point? And it was just 2 really simple things that I tweaked, and it really helps, ladies. It helps so much. So I'm really excited to deliver to you today on ways to get unstuck. I think we've all been stuck before. The first time I went elite, I felt like I crashed into a brick wall. I don't think that I was fully prepared in understanding what that momentum did and was doing to me because I wasn't planning beyond elite. So I am here to tell you that I've learned that, and I went elite again because I wanted to, where it wasn't a goal that I felt like I couldn't do again or that my team couldn't do. I just had to connect back to the joy and get unstuck and just really see beyond goals. Those are my benchmarks, if that makes sense. So I'm assuming a lot of you are choosing to go for elite this year. I'm so excited for you. Or even beyond that, you just want to build a solid business, something that's insanely on my heart. I always tell my team that it's my burden, but not in a bad way, that I really seek to make sure that there is so much success beyond me for my team. And so I'm really excited to share this. Trina Gray is my upline. If you don't know her, she's amazing. And she just is super solid in always reflecting each and every single week and teaches us just things that she's learned in life and also in business. And so actually these 12 tips really came from her. And I just really feel like you need to hear them because it's everything that spoke to my soul that I just know that a lot of people need to hear. So this is my version of Trina Gray's 10 ways or 11 or 12 ways to get unstuck. But also create new momentum in your business. So 1, you probably have heard of all 12 of these. 2, you need to go teach them to your team. So I think I'm just a teacher. I used to be a teacher. And so I'm constantly taking and reteaching and constantly just going and showing my team what's possible. So 10 ways to get unstuck or create new momentum in your business. Number 1, start a new program. Seems super basic but super easy, right? Something that you can do. So it doesn't have to be a program. It can also be a product. I just ordered that new coach sampler kit. I'm so excited about it. And I told my team that I'm excited about it and why I'm excited. That not only can I share some of those samples, but also that I can try some other stuff that maybe I haven't tried in a while. So that's even a simple thing that I just did today. 3-day refresh is really awesome. A lot of you are probably doing 80-day obsession, so you can really start thinking about 2B mindset, the beach bars, and just really starting to educate yourself about it and get prepared for that with your team. And so when you start that new program or that product, make sure that you share the experience. Our business is to tell the story, right? Like to tell our story, and it's our job to make sure that we are telling that story. So we need to share it and tell it through our own experiences. Number 2, and share your progress, obviously. Number 2 is start a new book or start a new podcast. And again, for me, I cannot even express to you how reading a book, because I was listening to podcasts and then I shifted back to reading a book, and I've been unstoppable with reading. My current favorite book that I've read this year is Be Obsessed or Be Average. Right now I'm reading 10X Rule. I love Girl Wash Your Face. There's some really good books, and Brittany's going to be really excited. I got the 10 Ways of Leadership, whatever book that you're reading, and you are so excited.
The Power of Positive Leadership.
Yeah,
You were close. You were close. I love it.
Around there. I'm really, really excited about starting that book as soon as I finish the current one that I'm doing. But when you are starting a new book, you need to make sure that you go teach. Go teach a lesson. Share something that really stuck out to you. That is such a great way to do that in a challenge group, but also on your team page. So a lot of times we do book clubs throughout our team. So even ran on your team page, you could do a quick book club, a 14-day book club on Girl Wash Your Face. What was something that stuck out to you, right? That you're all in there together. Or for me, I just really love sharing, whoa, this really spoke to me and this is how I applied it today. And just sharing those lessons with your team or challengers. Number 3 is create a new niche for the month. She said you don't have to create an entirely new niche, but something that really motivates you or connects you to new people. So that could be my coach, Erica. Her niche is being a stay-at-home mom, but she literally just had a baby. So her new niche for next month is women who've just had a baby. It's a little bit different than a woman having 3 kids, right, if they aren't babies. So that's her new temporary niche that she's excited to expand to. For me, it could be a new dog mom. I became a new dog mom 6 months ago, right? That can be my new niche for the next month to create new momentum to help me reach new people, and just pick something and someone you want to help. So for Trina, her husband, Jeff, is a shipwreck archaeologist, and which I think is so cool. And so what she did is she said, Jeff, tell me all of the women in your field. Give me their names. And so then what she did is she literally just sent them a message and she said, hey, you think your job is cool? Mine's actually cooler. I'm doing a group for you for women who are shipwreck archaeologists, and you need to do this. And she just like cold messaged them all and said, I'm Jeff's wife, like you need to do this with me. You could go to college professors and say, hey, you know, this is what I'm doing. For me, as a teacher thinking of a newer niche, I'm thinking the guilty teacher, someone who struggles with a lot of guilt and doesn't have time for themselves, right? Teaching teachers self-care is so my jam, but how can I create a new niche off of being a teacher? So just a little bit of an idea for you is you don't have to completely shift your niche, but if you're literally lacking momentum right now and maybe you're rocking it and you're doing really great, but maybe you know some coaches on your team that are really struggling. This would be a really cool activity to do with them to create a new niche for the next month. Number 4, host an event. So this could be virtual or live. It can be a power hour. I run a Saturday lesson in chat. So literally, I don't record it, so they have to hop on, and it's every Saturday. I've been doing it for 2.5 years. I love it. It's so fun. So all I do, I get up at 5 a.m. Every Saturday morning, Pacific Standard Time. It's great. I actually really do love it. And I just share a lesson I learned from the week. And it really isn't always about business. It's about life. So that's been really awesome. On Sundays, my team and I do a live power hour at 5 a.m. We do a live power hour, and I walk them through how to crush Instagram. I do a best practice every Tuesday night. And it's not a lesson. It's not a guest speaker. It's literally just me. I'm growing. The more I grow, the more my team will grow. So it's really easy for me to have a best practice on Tuesdays. It could be Google Streak. It could be something from PD. It could be whatever. Something that I've also been doing is having
Sorry to interrupt. I missed it because I was writing down what you
No, you're good. I'm talking fast to get all in.
No, it's fine. Did you say that you do this live thing in your team every Saturday?
Yep. So every Saturday I set an event. You can actually do reoccurring events in your team page.
Okay.
And we meet on a Zoom. And what's really cool, you guys, is that, so I do it there. I post the day before in there, hey, we're meeting tomorrow. It's like clockwork of what I do. and then 5 minutes before or 30 minutes before our event, and then 5 minutes before our event. And I have really high attendance on all of my Zooms because of clarity. I don't wing it. I'm very strategic on how I market to my team on how to get them on. So on the weekends, I don't record because I know that they could catch the recording. And so it's kind of like FOMO, where Saturdays is probably my most popular Zoom, all because it's not recorded and we literally just chat. It's super fun, and we connect, if that makes sense. And then Sunday, it's business driven, if that makes sense. So I do those two things. On Mondays, I do a push group call, a Q&A for people who want to go diamond. There's no content with that. It's just an actual Q&A. And then I do a new coach call after that for any coaches in the last 3 months that are new. So it's not all of the new coaches in that month. It's literally just any newer coach, if that makes sense. And then a best practice. And so for me, I'm heavily growing my own business, but the way I serve my team, not through one-on-ones necessarily, are through these different opportunities throughout the week, which is really awesome. With my challenge group, every Tuesday, an hour before my best practice Zoom, we do a meetup. And so today they want to work on getting rid of negativity. So I'm going to go in my meetup. It's a Zoom, and I am going to give them a little lesson on positive self-talk. But what's really cool on my challenge group meetup is that I say, yeah, you guys, this is so cool. I do this with my team. Like the coaches on my team, we meet up just like this. And when I said that last week, a girl signed up that night after I had said that. And so it's a cool way to share the coaching opportunity as well. You could do a live workout meetup. I did that with teaching. I would have every week we would do a workout together and take a picture. You could do a challenge group meetup. You can go get coffee for any local challengers. So to get out of a funk and to get unstuck and to create momentum, host an event, either with your challenge group or your team, anything like that. Number 5 on how to get unstuck and create new momentum would be to attend an event. So obviously that could be Super Saturday or Summit. For me, I was ready to go to the next level and do something with PD at an event. So not necessarily Beachbody related, but something to help me grow my Beachbody business. So I'm going to Tony Robbins on Thursday. I'm going to be walking on fire on Thursday. It's going to be crazy. But make sure you're attending a live event. And again, make sure you go teach this to your team. I'll send Brittany a graphic I made right before this so you guys can share that with your team as well. Number 6, I love this one, is make a tool. So a way to get unstuck or create momentum is just to create a tool. So maybe that's a meal plan, a coaching tool, maybe it's a resource guide, maybe it's a graphic from the National Wake Up Call. That's what I do. I always make a graphic after each one that I listen to, and then create a deadline with this tool. And the reason you should create a deadline is just to make sure that it happens. It could be a business activity tracker. It could be a tool on how you go through Instagram and connect with new people. Here's an example of a tool that I made for my team was, the compliment comment question. Well, I think the thing that was missing in those 3 phrases is connection. So you need to connect and then compliment comment question. So what I did is I made a separate graphic and I wrote, what does connect mean? It means find some kind of similarity with someone. So if I see someone who's a boxer mom, I'm gonna reach out to them and connect and say, oh my gosh, I have a boxer too, and then compliment comment question. So then you're able to connect with that person. I think it was Dave Ramsey. He said it takes him 1 minute to trust someone based off of a connection. So if you can teach your team, and you probably are really good at this at you being at this level that you're at, which is incredible. Maybe your team is having a harder time. I think my team, they do all the activities, but it's always a tweak. That's what I tell them. I say, you're doing everything right, but typically it's just some kind of little tweak that you need to make. And so for me, I was finding that they weren't connecting. They were reaching out and they were complimenting and they were starting new conversations, but there was a lack of connection. That was a way big tangent off of Make a Tool, but you get what I'm saying. Number 7, this is probably my most favorite, is teach a lesson. Teach a lesson to your team. It doesn't have to be on a Zoom. It can be in a live video. It can be through a post. It can be through a one-on-one. And this is going to heavily boost your confidence by being able to teach something to your team or to your challengers. You can take in personal development, grow from that, and then teach that lesson to your team, if that makes sense. Number 8 is have a contest or a free group. So, you know how we have the Beachbody Challenge? So Team Rockstar Fit, which is my mothership team, they had the Rockstar contest. And so coaches got to refer a challenger and a discount coach. And there was another one, I can't remember what it was, but we had a huge contest with like 100 people were entered into it, and they won prizes and fun things, and they weren't even coaches necessarily on our team, but we were able to celebrate the people that were helping and feature them. So everyone had to submit a challenger and their pictures, and just like you would to enter into the Beachbody Challenge, but we just made it a Team Rockstar Fit one, and it was so awesome. We went live about it and then just shared the winners and just talked about how people's lives, I know it was, a physical transformation, an emotional transformation, and emotional, physical, I'm not sure, I can't even remember what the other one was, but it was 3 criteria, and we had 3 different winners. It was really powerful. In a free group, you guys, this is where I feel like coaches get lost. They either don't do them or they do them too much. Because first of all, if you're giving everything of who you are in a free group, why would anyone want to do anything different? You're already giving all of you to your free group, and I think that's where coaches get stuck. But here's an example of a free group that I did after listening to Mel Robbins at Leadership. She's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 launch out of bed. And I was thinking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, my niche struggles with snooze. Like as a teacher, you don't get good sleep. So I was like, I'm going to make the launch project. And all the launch project is 5 graphics. All it says is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And my content is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you launch out of bed as soon as your alarm went off? The whole point of this free group was to get up on your first alarm and not press snooze. So what's cool about the launch project is I got everybody who struggles with getting up right away to learn how to master getting up right away. And I spent 2 seconds in that free group. And it was awesome. Now I take the launch project into my current group and we do it every day. We share, did you get up right away? Did you press snooze? What time is your alarm set for tomorrow? And so that was a simple free group that I did that allowed me to connect with new faces. My friend Teresa, she did a declutter group. Her house was really cluttered and she was like, I don't want to do this. And so she ran a group like that. Another coach on my team just saw Bad Moms. Have you guys seen that movie? It's super funny. I'm not even a mom, but I thought it was really funny. And so she's going to do a group on being a bad mom, where it's like, oh, did your kids go to bed at 9 because you were too lazy to get them in bed on time? Yep, me too. Like, did you give your kids macaroni and cheese 3 days this week? Me too. Like, bad moms unite. Super funny and super relatable. And it made her excited to connect with other bad moms, if that makes sense. So super simple. And again, for a free group, it shouldn't be something that we're pouring all of our time into, but it should be something that 100% narrows into your niche. So then you're excited about it, you're connecting with new people, and then you're able to upgrade them, bring them to your virtual community, if that makes sense. Number 9, and this has been so huge, and I think that this one's going to really speak to you on how to get unstuck or create new momentum, is set a goal. And I know this sounds simple, but honestly, you guys, the first year I went elite, I didn't set a goal beyond that, and I was so stuck. I was so stuck. And it's because I didn't see beyond it. And then now I know better. Now I know what the second time I hit elite is so amazing and it represents so much and it means so much to me. But I had to make sure that I knew where I was going after the second time we hit elite, right? And so you need to write it out. You need to write out your goal. You need to share your goal. You need to announce your goal. And this is what I really struggle with, is treat yourself when you hit that goal. And this goal doesn't have to be rank related. It doesn't have to be money related. It can be something as simple as, I'm going to schedule all of my challenge group posts. And then you set that goal, you announce it, you write it down, and then you treat yourself once you hit it. So for an example, for me, I've been updating Brittany about this, is I made a graphic with where my team is going for 10-star by April 12th. Just in case you were wondering, that's 29 days away. Yep, 29 days. And so I, every day, have been writing it down. I've been announcing it. I've been sharing it. And I just have been letting it manifest into my head, because when you start to do that, you start to really think about how far away you are from the goal. But you have to just like breathe belief into it. And so then what I do is I go to my team and I share my goal with them. And it's really our goal. I said, are you still in? We can do this. We've got this. Like, let me know what you need every day. Like every day I have this little message thread and I breathe belief into them. Here's an example. My coach, Lauren Lundberg, she's currently, I think she's 4 coaches away from 4-star qual. Like she's really close. And I'm so excited for her. She's amazing. And she was 2 coaches away from hitting team leader. And I said, Lauren, you need to write it down and you need to go share it in your team page. And she said, Julianne, I don't want to push my coaches. And I said, Lauren, like you've gone elite with me the last 2 years and I've done this to you. Did you feel like I was pushing you? And she's like, no, I just didn't want to let you down. And I said, did you ever feel like I would have ever made you feel that way? And she's like, never. And I was like, so stop thinking that that's the case for you. She shared her goal. She announced it to her team. They hit it that night. It was so crazy. And then she's like, I was like, you need to update your team every time. So what I do with Britt is I have this graphic and it has 12 coaches on it, 12 PS coaches. And so it might say 2 PS and 1 emerald away from diamond. So it's all of their pictures and it has everything broken down of what each coach needs to hit diamond. So every time one of those coaches adds a coach, I update it, I share it with my little pod, and then I share it with Britt, and then I share it with our diamond push group. And so I'm constantly sharing and updating and letting everyone in on this culture of goal setting. Because a lot of times I think leaders are too afraid to go for it and say they want to go for it because they think that other people are going to think that they're selfish or, whatever. But I think it's my duty to be as transparent as possible with my team. They need to know that I'm in the trenches. They need to know where I'm going. And I need to set the pace for them, because if they don't know where I'm going, they don't know where they're going. And I think a lot of coaches hold back because they're so nervous. I'll tell my team, I'm 10-star, $10,000 a month, 4 new coaches as of I need this next week, elite times 3, and then SC 20. So I literally write it down and then I share it, because then I make it happen and then they see that it wasn't easy, but I talked about it and I made sure. But honestly, you guys, I really am horrible at treating myself once I hit goals. So I'm really working on that. I'm going to work on it. I promise. Number 10 is take an idea from the National Wake Up Call or a Zoom, maybe it's this one right here, and implement it right away for a quick win. So right away, implement something that you learned today. Maybe honestly what you hear is you heard me say, be obsessed or be average, and you order that book today. And then that's your win that you take, right? It's such a good book. Or maybe you go write down your goals and then you go share it with your team, as scary as it is, because you're afraid of people questioning your integrity, right? You're selfish, this or that. I'm telling you guys, you're doing a disservice if you're not sharing your heart and your goal with your team. Because at the end of the day, like they're not going to question my integrity because they know how much I want success for everybody on our team. And in order to maximize success on our team, we do need to advance to 10-star. Like we do need more diamonds on our team. Like we do need that, right? In order for them to maximize their goals and their mindset, right? So take an idea and implement it right away. And you are going to feel like that was a quick win. This one's probably hard for you. Number 10 is shut it all down. And Trina said, momentum isn't more. Momentum is clarity. So shut it down. I think that this is very hard for us because our job is to be plugged in. But that doesn't mean that shutting down is going to help you. So what you could do is you could go for a walk, or you could get out a blank piece of paper and just start writing. And the fresh start is the best start, I think, when you can just have that clear, fresh mind, right, of how you're going to approach this. And Trina said when she was thinking about ways that she has felt stuck before, and literally she just like scooted back from her desk, she got out a piece of paper, and she just looked around her office. And she just was like, how did I ever get unstuck? All the times in 10 years of being in this business, have I ever felt unstuck? And I like that. Momentum isn't more. It's clarity. And if your team is struggling to hit certain goals, I always think that it's lack of clarity. It's just the how. Like, how can they do it? Just be super clear on the how they can do it. So when people say like, go invite, they don't necessarily know how to do that. So the more transparent and clear you can be about that, an example would be I would share my screen and show them exactly how I invite or exactly how I expand my network, and to be clear with them, if that makes sense.
Hey, Julianne, can I add something real quick?
Yes, please.
So clarity-wise, like if you're all struggling for clarity, because I think that's the biggest thing, and I'll be honest with you, there's a couple areas in my personal life that I'm unclear on, and so I haven't set a goal in that area, and it's only because I lack the clarity, and it's the fear of the unknown, right? So with that being said, high performance habits, if you guys haven't really, dove into that, Brendan Burchard actually just allowed you to download it for free. So once again, it's listening, but there's the book copy here, Julianne, you'll see this. So, but literally, and why I throw stuff at me, but his number one high performance habit is seek clarity. And without seeking clarity, you can't move on to what you want next in this business. So I really feel like that is a huge one.
It's so true. It's so true. Like, clarity is everything. And every time I'm teaching, I'm just thinking of how can I teach this to where they get it? How can I teach it so it's so crystal clear and not vague? And the more details, the better, if that makes sense. Number 12, just tell yourself it's go time. Just to do it. Like, let's go. Because sometimes you open up your laptop and you're like, I just don't feel like doing this. Or maybe you've gone on vacation and you get back from vacation and you're just so not in the mindset, right? Britt knows this. Last year, literally the day I found out I hit elite was the day I found out I had a miscarriage. And it was such a devastating time in my life. But you guys, like, it's been able to connect me with a whole new niche of people. And it's been amazing to be able to be that voice for women who don't talk about it. But it was so hard that that was the unstuck one that I had to do, because my mind and my emotional capacity just wasn't there. So I literally just had to be like, just get it done. Like, just do it and let's go. And I think it was 6 months later, I realized like I could start adding all these other things into my life. But during that time, the survival time, you go through 3 stages in your business. You go through the thriving stage, and then you go through a surviving stage, and then you go through, hopefully not, the excuse-making stage. So the thriving is you're hitting above SC10, like you're crushing it. You're always listening to the National Wake Up Call. You're plugged in, like you're in your team page every day. And then the survival is you're hitting Success Club, but it's not like what you normally do. You're still recruiting, but not like what you usually are. And you're still doing the vitals, but you're not as intense or 10xing everything, if that makes sense, then the excuse making is you're not hitting Success Club, you're not recruiting, you're not plugged in, and you're not doing the vitals. So thriving and surviving, you're going to dip in those. And so for me, through my survival stages of this business, it's go time. Like, you just got to suck it up and you just got to get it done. And I always think every time when I'm going through a hard phase is I can see through it. I know I'm going to get through it. It just sucks right now. And I'd rather practice self-care and still work my business through the suck, because otherwise it would still suck, if that makes sense. So I would just keep going through that. So just remember that you get to decide what your story is as a coach. And I think it's just so hard. Like, comparison is such a real thing, you guys, especially at this level. And I've had to really protect my integrity and protect my heart, because I'm a competitive person with myself. And I know that I'm capable of a lot, but I also know that what I'm doing is so good because I truly have this desire to overserve people and just love them hard and just see them successful. And sometimes it's really hard to see so many successful people at this level and you don't know what their heart is. You know what I'm saying? And so my biggest piece of advice to you is just like, stay on your path, course correct when you need to, and just know that you can do it. And Trina always, I learned so much from her. She's amazing. You need to go follow her YouTube. She says there's so many different ways to the top of the mountain. And like, there's so many different ways. And it's like, some people choose the really hard, steep, like ways that most people don't want to go down or go up. And it's the quickest way, but it's like the hardest, right? Then some people take like the longer route that's more scenic, and it takes them a little bit longer, but they end up getting there. And you just have to trust that. And I know it's really hard to not like internalize, like, why are you not there yet? Or like, why does it look so easy for this person? But you just have to trust that your story makes such an impact with people, and that if you continue just to live in being genuine and not trying to be another coach and just like lead the way you want to be led, I swear it's going to pay off in the best way possible. I know I spoke so fast because I was thinking we only had a half hour. Was that right, Brittany, or did you have a full hour?
No, you're good. We have about 45 minutes, but this is good because I want to just stop it for a second. I want to ask, who is Julianne Condia? Because we didn't even really introduce you. We just went into it. Will you just tell a little smidgen about who you are? And then I would love for them to ask any questions that they do have.
Yeah. So I started coaching almost 4 years ago. I was a couch dweller. I call myself Couch to Coach. And I actually heard about this opportunity on the couch. And I heard a business training my friend was doing, who's no longer in this, by the way. And I was like, oh, that seems super cool. But I was an inner city school teacher in Milwaukee, and I was 35 pounds heavier. I hated fitness. Literally nothing what you think a successful coach would look like. That was me. And I said yes to this. And I remember thinking I could be good at that. And I just remember thinking, like, I know this is going to be consistency plus time. Just don't guarantee your failure by quitting. And so I lost 35 pounds, fell in love with fitness, fell in love with this community. And I just started sharing my journey. So I was an overworked, burnt out, underpaid teacher. And so it really made me mad that more people were making more money than me and I was working harder than them in my school. And so this opportunity completely transformed my entire life. And so I left my job. I take leaps in life. Like, I just don't know why, and it stresses me out, but we get through it. And so I left my job a year and a half into the business, and I've built my business entirely on a dead leg. And so all 630 coaches that are on my team, or 670 or something, is like literally started me and no help. And so I'm really proud of that. It's just taken a long time to get to this momentum stage that it's in now. I'm so proud of it. And yeah, I love coaching. And so I'm really proud to be a coach and to serve my team Happy and Fit. They're incredible, mainly teachers, but that's a little bit about me.
I love that. And now she lives in California. So that's why she's in the West region. No, you're perfect. But you said Milwaukee, and they're probably like, wait a second, is that in the West?
Yeah, I live in San Jose, California. We moved here because my husband was a teacher. And now he left his job too. And so we have a boxer dog named Wyatt, and we love traveling and we love spending time together. So
You're the best. I love it. Okay, ladies, unmute yourself and ask Miss Julianne some questions, please. And I hope you took a lot of notes. That was incredible. So thank you so much.
oh, thank you.
Okay, who wants to?
Well, can I ask a question? So I'm also a teacher. I'm home because I only teach half time now with little ones at home. But one of the things I really love how you go live a lot with your team. But my team is mostly teachers also, and they're mostly working full time with kids at home. And so I find that even my team calls are really low attendance because I have so many working moms. That is like my niche market. And I live in Washington, so I'm on the West Coast, but a lot of my team lives on the East Coast. And so my call times are a struggle because I'm struggling to work with teachers on both coasts in 2 different times. And so I guess I'm asking, how do you get well-attended calls when you have people who are working full time and balancing a home life and all of that? Because I think for me, that's something I struggle with because I work really hard on my team calls and I get all prepped, and then sometimes like 4 people show up and I have a big team. So, like, how did you get past that hurdle?
Oh, girl, that's so the struggle. Like, I so get that. And so I have a couple pieces of advice. One, what works for me may not be the thing that works for you, and you can totally find something that does. So take whatever I say with a piece of grain of salt is what you would say, right? One, it is so vital that I teach my team that they need to share this vision with their family. And so for me, I remember when I first started, my husband was always supportive, but he didn't really understand why I was on my phone or on Zooms or things like that. So I was really transparent with him of, hey, I just want you to know I'm jumping on this call. This is what I'm learning on this call, and this is why it's important to me to be on this call. And so I teach my team that it's really important that they share with their spouses and their family why they need to make this call a non-negotiable and why it's going to help them. And then using the phrase "our business" has helped and transformed the households of the people on my team. Instead of saying my business, this and that, but in your household saying "our business." I remember with Eric, I'd be like, hey, I just want you to know I'm doing this for us. Like, your vision is my vision, and it means so much to me. So 2. And then 3, are you sold on your calls? And so for me, what I was lacking is we had a lot of guest speakers, which is so great and so wonderful because there's so many wonderful pieces of advice and stories. But you guys, my favorite thing in this business is teaching, and I wasn't doing it. I was letting other people do it, which is totally fine and so good because I always am coachable. Like, I watched so many YouTube videos and practically taught myself starting. And so for me, I was like, I get so fired up teaching my team. And so that's just the gift that I have and the gift that I love. And it's the thing that brings me so much joy. So we had lower attendance actually on guest speaking calls. Then when I started to believe fully in my best practice Zooms, I equip them, clarity, right? So they know exactly when the calls are, they get alerts because of the scheduled events. But then I always say why I'm excited about it, why it's good for the part-time hustler. So what I would do is really market your Zooms on how to really help your team be successful with the schedules that they have. And so maybe getting on a weekly call during the week is not ideal. I know that teachers on my team, if they have team calls, they do them on Sunday nights. They just try to adjust to their team and the culture. But I think it would be so powerful. Maybe your team calls are 30 minutes tops, and all they are is a best practice on how to be a part-time coach. And so maybe your team calls are mainly power hours, really getting in that work hour. But what's very important when you are promoting your calls, it's kind of marketing to your team. If you think about it, selling your team on these calls, like, why do they need to get on it? It's because it's going to make their crazy schedules reduce in the long run if they learn these skills. And so you have to be completely sold on what you're teaching your team, and you need to fire back with that I always send out like messages, like not anymore, but I'd be like, hey, team call starting. Even as our team call starts, I go post the link in the team page. Like, so I do a day before, 30 minutes before, and then 5 minutes before. And then as soon as it's starting, I post that. I take a picture after every single Zoom and I post it in our team page and say, what was your top takeaway? I love that all of you are on. I'll even, it's kind of like a kid in my classroom. Oh, Jamar, I love the way you were sitting. You are seriously like so focused. Guess what other kids in my classroom would do? They would sit up and be like, oh, I hope Mrs. Condia talks to me like that. And so it's kind of the same thing where I would message coaches and say, I am so thankful you were on. Like, it filled up my heart. I know this is going to help you so much. And just reinforcing that good behavior of a practice. And that kind of goes into my last thing, is make sure you're recognizing your coaches for the process and not just the reward of Success Club and rank advancements, but of the process of posting on social media, sharing their story, jumping on Zooms, doing power hours, just like those behaviors. That was a long-winded answer. I'm so sorry.
I know Chris had a question next. Did you want to go ahead?
Me? Yeah. I was just checking out your Instagram. And I was just wondering if you by chance have like an Instagram, like, I don't know, how you built your Instagram.
Yeah, I do on my YouTube. I don't know if it's still there, but I've been building my Instagram for a really long time. And you guys, I always tell my team this. I say, wherever you're feeling stuck or frustrated, there are so many resources on YouTube. There's this girl I follow, Jade something. I don't know. She's literally 16 and is a millionaire. And all she does is like share how to grow your Instagram. She's really crazy. So what I do is I spend a lot of time. I talk about the importance of personal development and professional development. So if you are wanting to grow in an area, there's so many amazing resources. So for right now, what's working for me with Instagram is, here are like 5 examples. I just said 5. I'm not really sure if I have 5. But 1, posting 3 to 5 polls on my stories a day. And then every time someone's participating on my poll, I send them a video and I go, Crystal, thanks so much for participating in my poll. Hey, sister, you should join my next group. I would love to give you more details. It's going to be on fitness, confidence, and nutrition. She's like, great. I'm like, sweet, what's your email? So like, that's a best practice that I do, that I share with my team. Another one is, make sure to use at least 5 hashtags in your story. Hide them. You can minimize them really, 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 really small, but make sure they're who you want trafficked into your story. So for me, I want teachers. So I'm trafficking teachers through my story. So I'm going to be inviting teachers. I'm going to be talking about my Fit Teacher Guide. And my Fit Teacher Guide is simply just a group that's for teachers. And I teach them self-care, right? Another best practice in a story is tag a location that's not where you are right now. Do like Chicago, do Los Angeles. You'll get more traffic that way. 4. Social or Instagram is social. So you need to make sure that you're interacting with people. So best practice that I do on Instagram is, for 20 minutes, I'll go on where my stories are displayed and reply to as many stories as I can in that amount of time to build relationship. My goal is to make my cold market my warm market. And then 5th, I try to interact with people's posts by like giving good quality comments. And then I get people. And again, I have a lot of people who follow me that aren't my avatar, you guys. I've had coaches that have gone viral that it was in China where they went viral, did nothing for their business. So depending, you could have 1,000 followers to 1 million. It doesn't matter unless it's the people engaging that are truly your tribe. Because if you really go look closely to my posts, I lost a lot of engagement and sometimes don't have comments, and it bothers me. It bothers me to my core. And so I don't care how many followers I have. I was feeling really stuck with my Instagram, but now I'm putting in a lot of effort in connecting.
Yeah, I feel like that's where I'm at right now on my Instagram is I want that connection more as to the amount of followers.
Think about the one person you can serve and not everybody. It's who's that somebody. And so I think less is more, because you're going to get like, for me, I feel like I literally attract the best people. Like my coaches are amazing and they're lifers and I love them. And so I might have less, but I love them and they're so wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you.
That was a good one. Okay, we have time for one more question. Did you all get some great notes, some great takeaways? Are you going to take this to your team?
Good.
Okay.
Real quick, my sister-in-law is amazing. And my two biggest struggles in this business, building it, comparison and feeling frustrated of not being where I want to be when I want to be there. Can you relate? It's like such a real thing. And she was telling me about envy and jealousy. And I was like, "Ooh, tell me more, Kristen." And she said, if you're feeling envious, what's happening in your heart is you feel like you're losing something. So if you feel envious of someone's success or envious of someone, it's because you feel like you're losing or something's happening, right? And then she said jealousy means that you feel like you're lacking something. So if you, and it's all false. Like it's a false reality that you've created. So if you are ever in this business, I have such a compassionate heart on coaches that feel comparison, because that is how I had felt for a long time. And I have to try really hard to put on my blinders. But just know like you're enough and that your story is enough. Even if you feel like you're struggling to find your voice, like just be you and trust that.
You rock. Okay, one last thing. I love that. That's a lot of clarity. I love that. Okay, so my last question for you. So these are 3 and 4 star diamonds that have big goals working till the end of the year, right? What is one last piece of advice that you give them to really, hone in on their goals or really strive to that next, to get, where they want to be next? What would you say?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I can say a lot of things, but if it's specifically 5-star elite, like that kind of stuff, I'm telling you this, it's not over till December 31st. Like it is, it is March and people are like, it's not going to happen. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have so much time. I saw coaches quit on December 1st for going for that goal. And I was like, I know I have 4 weeks to hit it. I'm going to go till the very end. And so just make sure you put that deadline on there and fight for the goal like it is the deadline. Mine is April 12th. Like that is like the end of the year for me. And because I was always waiting until the end of the year to hit the goal, which I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to move the deadline up like way far in advance. And if I miss it, at least I like push really hard and then I'll just set a new date. You guys, just don't guarantee your failure by quitting. Trust this process. It always gets worse before it gets better. Trust me. Like in qualification, the weirdest things happen. Like when you were going for a big goal, feels like your whole team's falling apart. I swear, if you can connect to the momentum and the joy and the love in this, it's all going to pick back up and it's going to be a freaking powerhouse. It's going to feel like you're going to war and it's going to be awesome.
Okay, I love that. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Are you ladies good? Yay! Thanks for being part of this call. I really appreciate you. Okay, I will see y'all soon. Thank you, Julianne.
Bye.
Bye.